Oh my god, my code is in pain. Actually, it's not my code, it's a super villain code that I'll beat up, essentially. But look how much pain he's suffering. It's getting bigger and bigger. Holy shit, man. So, we kicked console in the face from 15 lines of 100 lines of code. Now it's 900. You don't quite see the numbers, unfortunately, but you see them right here, highlighted, right? Now it's at 884, and we started with 1500s. Now it's this turn, and this one is way more important because now we're touching actual features, actual things I can test and break, and regrets ever doing the condensation or even analyzing or touching the code that is pretty good. This thing might seem pretty mild, it's just a wall of text, but you can expand the text, you can copy the text. There's buttons for everything. There's ability to scroll all the way up. It stores thousands of lines, and you can quickly just move around with this. It's kind of fascinating, to be honest. But it's not only that. You can see every single error or notification because this is debug log table. I don't know how they do it, but they're capable of taking debug log from Unity and showing it here. So if any error happens, if any bug or glitch or missing value or you know, an image doesn't load properly and something happens, like it throws an error, and it's very convenient to see that. And sometimes the game completely breaks and you get a flood of errors, which is, you know, a good indication that your game is totally shit. Went to shit. You wouldn't be able to actually detect it without this table. This is like the most useful feature for any Unity developer that has 1,000 lines of code in their game. At that point, without this, it's a little bit trickier to, you know, develop anything and find bugs and glitches or whatever. But, I mean, people do it, but I need it because I'm interacting with a lot of numbers and complicated systems, so it just helps me log every single change that happens. It's a very fun thing that it's a part of the system, right? You see anything change, any button gets +1, it's just nice to show it to the player. So, but I'm planning on changing these 3 buttons. Up here, this doesn't simplify enough. You can see like it expands or takes 3 in of the same. If I expand it back up again, you can see 3 of the same. So it kind of tries to collapse a little bit, but it's not good enough. I can collapse a little bit better by taking those +1 things and double checking if like the value haven't changed by much and the value is repeated like that. Then I can simplify it by like showing +5 or whatever, the amount of it changed over time by clicking this button, which is pretty useful. The next thing to do is to change the way it deletes things. I only want to delete like 10%, not everything, and 10% at a time. So it's a little bit more trickier because it always changes the amount after you delete it. And now the search is also not working as I would like to. Like technically, you get what you want. But if I wanted time elapse for game developer button, I can't do that. I can't choose specific things because it just searches for one string. So a gap is also part of the string, which makes no fucking sense. It should search everything separately with multiple filters, which is very easy to implement. I already done it plenty of times. It's the regular search engine. It's like super easy. So once I understand how the code works, once I tame it basically, I should have control over these 3 buttons and much more. It's not about just the features that I want to add, it's about features that I might want to add or might want to change. So that's cool. Last episode, we struggled to just like open the damn thing. Just opening it was difficult. But now things are a lot more intense. This was just a warm-up exercise to find how everything works. And now we're going to analyze the main part of the code, which is very exciting. So we start at 1750. You don't quite see it, but it's there. And since we pulled this thing down from 1500, we shrinked it. We turn it into something reasonable, boys. Without particular errors, but errors don't say much, right? This could be already broken and beyond repair because I haven't actually tested it and I don't actually need to use it. The console is completely obsolete because that's what I chose to do. I don't know what kind of commands you can input in the console, but I disabled it because it was getting in the way and it was pointless. So I try to analyze this. This didn't felt like it does anything useful. All right, what is the command supposed to do? I don't get it. All right, it didn't explain itself fast enough, so it died on impact. And as I read through this, like there's nothing interesting. So let's see what happens as I read through this code and slowly dissect it and shrink it the same exact way. It even has tooltips somehow. Fascinating. Enumerator, boys. Yep. Let's begin. Sometimes, as an introduction, I have to tell you, sometimes as a game developer, you have to face foreign code and tame it, make it your own, understand how it works exactly, every single part of it. Because otherwise you can't make changes fast enough and you can't be confident about it. And slowly I might be able to, you know, I guess there's no other way, just digest. But over time, right, as I get familiar, as I use the code more often, and technically this should be the main one, I shouldn't necessarily need to touch anything else here, even though it has plenty of lines of code. The secondary scripts, basically. I shouldn't need to touch that just yet. But yeah, this should be interesting as well. There's some weird ways it manipulates X and Y stuff. We're gonna discover some interesting stuff. But the most ridiculous thing about this that you can already see, and I hope you don't deal with that shit yourself if you're interested in programming, the crazy names. This is mild in comparison. This is getting out of control though, very quickly. Like this, seriously? There was a good example where side by side, you see these like very long. Oh my god, bro. This is insanity. Like you wouldn't be able to tell a difference between these ones. You can't tell the difference when the text is so long and it kind of looks very similar. It says entries to show. So you're like, well, like it's kind of very similar line, right? And all of a sudden, all this work of like trying to build a name for something, now it just turns into absolute nonsense. Because it just blends in with everything else. Like it serves such a little purpose to have a name like this. If you want names to be explained, you use that green text, you know, you write a book here if you want. Of like how this thing got married with this thing and made a baby, who was this and that. You can tell a whole fucking story, bro. And everyone will read it, because that's cool. But if you just try to explain everything by itself and then reuse it, I swear, bro, this is fucked up. I happen to see this very often, and it's cringe. But let's see what happens when I touch this code. How it will shrink down from 1,700 lines of code. Some people might say it's not impressive, but clean code makes up for a powerful project, because you can navigate this thing very quickly, you can understand this very quickly. You own this, basically. And ownership is pretty good if you want to be fast, if you want to be passionate, and efficient. You have to own the thing that you're working on, otherwise it doesn't fucking work out very well. It just becomes a mess. So immediately you just like turn this into that, because like, why not? Why do I need all these lines? Like, I understand enumerator, it has names and stuff, and that's it. Do I want to modify specific? What the fuck am I gonna do with this shit, right? Maybe some people use the breakdown, but like, this is the most disgusting feature of all time. Trying to break your code like this, like, I don't understand. So, we killing this. Let's begin the ultimate work. By the way, this is already disgusting. Like, why do I need all this stuff? You just explain it in the comments if I look into the code. Serialized. Hide. Oh my god. But some of it is relevant here, because it mixes with a lot of other code that is not hidden, I would imagine. There's a lot. Yeah, you can see serialized and it's not hidden, but still private. So far we don't see any revealed code. Still nothing. It's very difficult to understand, bro. What the fuck is this? Because when you look into the actual code, there is something, I would imagine. So log, console, debug log manager is what we're dealing with right now. And you can see plenty of variables exposed. In fact, there's a lot. So I have no idea what's going on here. It makes no sense. Like, it shows the tooltip. It hides, though, in the inspector. So what the fuck is going on? See, like, it does that. And people who fucking overwork on this thing, they're also just, like, feeding the noobs. Like, it's pointless. YouTube UI is pointless in every way imaginable. So, but I simplify. You can click buttons and blah, blah, blah. It's much better to actually inspire people to build a project and manipulate things from the project. But it's fine, I understand. It's whatever. But the code looks like this shit. And sometimes it even spills out ridiculous amounts. Like, it's disgusting. Technically, I should just delete tooltips altogether. I have to ask ChatGPT if this doesn't fucking cancel itself somehow. I don't understand. Like, it even says it's sort of, like, redundant. And I'm like, that's why I asked this question. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Why is it hidden and serialized at the same time? Are you kidding me, bro? What am I even handling anymore? And it's not... That's what spaghetti code actually is. It's made out of actual spaghettis. Like, what the fuck is this shit, man? Like, finally, we actually see the shit in action. Understand the definition. Like, it looks so much clearer than this bullshit right here. And you can see all the, like, values, if they're the same. But you don't have to see that because fucking add them together anyways. Just like that. It's ridiculous, bro. Potentially, if I change the names of something, it deletes the actual value that's assigned. So, 1 second. There's some values assigned here, and you should not forget where is what, because that would fucking suck if all of a sudden this disappears. So changing names is a little bit of a cringe thing. Also, you learn to change names simply because it gets displayed here normally. So you get addicted into having these fucking weird-ass names, which is so disgusting that Unity forces people to do this bullshit. Alright, so the moment of truth is to test one of these. Resize icon, all directories. Why the fuck do I need all directories? We'll never know. But we have it right here. Resize. It's only being used 3 times. Shit. Alright, let's see if what happens when we rename it. Who cries about it? Oh, that's not good. Renaming it does kill it. All directory. Okay, so that is scary. Alright, so it's not impossible to rewire these and get the new ones. Color orange. There's some weird stuff. What? I can't even see the whole thing. It's supposed to be end. And it's private but serialized anyways, as if like this is important for me. I can change the color of something that I don't even know of. But yeah, it's not impossible to change these. Alright, change the names and changing these. You just keep track of what you're deleting, of course. And again, names might be long. But what we have to double check is how many times something is used. Double click and search. This is used 4 times. Not bad. These ones are the scariest ones. If they're not used commonly, then I don't have to worry about it. But selected color is 7 times. This is 3 times. Even that is kind of cringe, but it's supposed to be here as a, you know, indicator of what to use. It sort of makes sense. Still has to be incredibly simple. Because even if you overcomplicate the name, it doesn't really explain itself immediately, right? You still have to understand. Like, you think as a programmer, you think not with words, but with functionality. So we have the selected color. We at least can find it. And selected color is 4343. I can take a hex, and I can hex myself that color, and always remember that. 434343. It's a very simple thing. I know it's just simply gray, but we have to respect it just this once. And I will replace this. So we grabbed the information that we needed. And even though I will rename this to filter button from filter button selected color. Filter C, basically. Filter color. This would be normal color. Okay, selected. Cell C. There you go. And now, after I update, so if I see over 5 uses and the name is overly long, I have to replace this. I can't work with that. So selected color. And with tooltips, you can actually highlight the full name if you want. It's the code that matters. The usability of that word that matters. You can still explain it with a tooltip here. And you can explain much more. You can tell a whole story about this thing, but it's just a color. So it sort of explains itself that way, right? All right, 43 with a name. But you know it's a color. So C stands for color and cell stands for something, right? We already have selected color here. So I think this should work. And I want to see where the code was and how it looks like now. There's the warning button. Warning button also is 7 times used. And it's this one. Also, you're looking for stuff that, like, filter is being used a bunch of times, right? No? Well, I used it right here, like, where I removed it. So filter is actually a more common word that you would understand. But you can use it either way, right? You can filter out the word filter, or just say that it has something to do with filter and the warning part doesn't matter. Just like warn B or something. So we can replace that. Where's the warning button? Warning button. It's over here. This is an image. Filter. Warning button. Image. It looks like nothing to me. Like literally nothing. I actually cannot find it, so it must be like a prefab. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's a prefab actually. Why does it say icon or image? Well, it says that because it's a component actually, I believe. So we should read through here first. This is image, it's image component. So we grab image component from warning button. See how complicated it is to just work with this? I don't quite know. I can actually click as well. We double click and we see the warning button being used. The image. The funny part is, even this one is very difficult to like set up. You want to set these things up automatically, but I don't have a time to do that. You want to just grab the filter button. If you're grabbing something from the actual game, you want to do it, well, that way. Because how do I switch to this? Grab it. Do I copy? You know. And then you're kind of like forced to do it that way. So let's try and remove this. Or change it to something different. Well, I can do with anything, right? It's looking for an image, I believe. So that's the only way. It's kind of scary in a way. But yeah, you can find images. All right. So problem solved. First time I'm doing this, guys. It's crazy. So that should be it, right? Filter. Warning button. These are the basics. Even though as clean as this is, it's also a little bit ugly. But at the same time, you can change that, at the very least. You just have to search. I've never done this. I usually can just drag and drop, and it will select an image automatically, right? But it all instantly wants an image instead. I would be able to just drag and drop. Maybe you can still do that. From here to here? Yes, you can still do that. Okay, so there's two ways to do it. Make field read only. Why does it want that? Anyways, let's keep doing the same thing until we reach the exit. There's a little bit of a monster wave, so to speak. But only big ones are worth defeating. Some stuff like Boolean, you just have to check if it's enabled or not, technically. And usually the default value is fine, so I don't have to change anything. Oh, what the fuck? I did not expect that. This means that something is trying to search for passive log. This can happen where things collapse, actually. So you just replace it there too. I feel that should fix the problem, right? I think it did. That's the even scarier part. Not only you have to deal with one part, this also probably runs in the background. I don't even know, bro. Doing surgery on other people's code, basically. Holy shit. Now, this is a very normal behavior. I will have to check Debug Log Manager Editor as well. This is a different script, but this is an editor script, meaning that it kind of creates a more smooth environment here, right? The editor environment. Serialized property. So I have to double check a little bit in this code and in that code. The name, however, is a little bit long. DL editor, though? I don't even know, bro. If I would call this an editor. Because unit editor mode, I understand. So technically it derives from that word or functionality. Let's kill some air though. I will shift the code just so you can see things and you can see the line amount. You can see this nonsense better. We found a dude with 11 entries. Holy shit. Mobster. This one's fine, right? No results here. That means we can freely eliminate this guy. And we don't have to do anything because some of these are private. Well, it feels like I found some kind of guild of these people that can be deleted. Or rather, their names cut into pieces. Look at this one. This one's a big boy. But it has the least amount of matches. It's so weird. So we decided to rename this into... Wait. Well, whatever happens, to be honest. But if we do too many of them, it might still break somewhere. I don't think so, though. These are private. Alright, let's see. But, like, doing them one at a time is so scary. It's insane, bro. This one, even though it occurs 3 times, look at how crazy this is. Ridiculous stuff. In the ideal worlds, you can just change the name and nothing happens. They understand that the name has been changed. That is a scary one, right? That you have to deal with this so slowly. It's like recruiting people into the guild. You have to change your name. That's it, like, it's very irrelevant. I just care too much about your name. even in the renaming section, as I'm renaming up there, I can't see the whole name. This one is pretty short, and I can't see the whole name. It cuts it here. I can see this part. Cuts at Sajid, whatever. That is crazy, bro. I don't even know what I'm renaming sometimes. Oh, I can just pull the slider. It's actually very useful for me. I never was tested to do that. Wow. Just pull the slider. Talking about this thing. It was at minimum, actually. Wow, the more you know. This is a nice practice. Apparently, in life, you have to try something new, and you will learn new things. It's just how it works. Recycle this view is the last serialized object. So past this point, I can actually freely reduce the names. But it also kind of stops there. This is the only guild. Oh, look, there's a complete base. Look at that. Completed now. What a weird fucking naming convention. The way do my own code is you can see the console basically, and you learn the ways to summon things and do things. And I already can, like, you know, make a card game out of that. Now, obviously, they're not functional, but every single card has its own functionality in a way. And the commands have their own functionality. So if I want to see if newest 3 cards, I do this. And I get a lawsuit. And from this position, you can build your rest of the game, so to speak, if you want. Obviously, you like to use editing and stuff, but I don't know. This is my approach. But most importantly, the names don't matter. What matters is the functions. So I created, through programming, I decided that functionality is more important, right? And this way I can create an app that's functional. You know you're summoning a button. You don't need to know what the button is called, what the prefab is called. You just know it's just a button, bro. It's not difficult to figure out. And the most annoying part is that this is just a simple logging device, right? It's not supposed to be, like, overcomplicated. The functionality is quite simple, and I can figure it out. But people are trying to be nice, I guess, not realizing that it doesn't quite work exactly as intended. I'll be able to scroll down and see what's interacting with what, in what specific way, and technically all the comments should be here, right? And comments can explain the functionality too, finishing the whole spectrum of things. So it's, obviously variables have to be explained. You know, if you toggling something on and off, if you have a slider variable from 0 to 1, this has to be explained. What it would do, not the name itself, has to be complicated, but the explanation for the use of it. And that's it. It goes on and on the same way. Explain the most important parts. And if your code is very difficult to read like that, when the names are too long, then I have to read the whole name as well to understand it. No way. Technically, I should just read the last part, but even that is kind of cringe. There's a stamp. Oh boy, this is really weird. Q log stamp. No! The line is gone! What did I do? What the fuck just happened? Is that new? I don't know. There's this line missing, as you can see. That's interesting. Alright. You can see that, right? Holy shit. Yeah, there's this line right here. What the fuck? Don't I have it? You can see I have it. How did that happen? That is interesting. Funny enough, I can highlight from the code itself. So if I see something repeat itself many times, I will investigate. And found that command input fields, which sounds pretty important, is in fact an important field. So you probably can name it like com. I like calling it com. It seems like very legit thing to do. The actual it occurs 25 times, so clearly it's a big boy. But I also have to not delete it. Let's do the surgery, boys. Command input field now is com. And this opens me for potential errors as well. No errors? Interesting. And then we have to switch to input field being here. I've tested, this works, and we can continue. But something replaces, if I play, what is replacing these strokes? What is stretched out here? What kind of object? I don't quite understand. Is it this one? Don't destroy on... What? It still doesn't do anything. Wow, this is a layout group or something? Somehow I disabled the button image. Okay, that's one button. Oh. Yeah, I have no idea how I created this visual glitch. Not very relevant. Everything else should work fine. It does disable the button. It's almost not a glitch. It's almost like it's fine. Maybe it's always was disabled or enabled. But no, I don't understand at all. And it's even better that way to read from here. This is some very weird one. Also, you can just put it in one line. If you just give it the default value. You can even put the default value here. Ah, you can't. Okay, never mind. So you do this into equals that. Into equals that. All in one go. Code cleaning is something anyone can do. Yes, it's very intense to like make a code in the first place. And you want things to be clean and accessible. Like, even like this is technically like you're trying to click on anything and hit the right spot because the gap itself is kind of small. I would imagine that's the case. But it's still very weird to use stuff like this. Even for me, this is unusual, because I've seen all kinds of code, right? I've even seen a meme of, like, there's two types of people who do this and who do that. It literally defines a type of a person. Wow, okay, there's some secret, not serialized fields. And it's hard to tell which way it does it, but serialized field only picks one item. Anything below it doesn't work. Which that's normal. But things were below it like that, right? Should these be serialized? Double check they are not. Yeah, not only this is a comment that takes up space, but it takes up 2 lines of space. Because you wanted to make it to look nice and stuff. Just that, bro. Wait. Wrong direction. This way. I will try mostly to shrink lines, and if I see a pretty long line, there has to be some kind of name, right? Repeating itself. In this case, it's pop-up manager, but this one, it seems fine. Also, it's a getter and setter. Makes sense to me. These lines can stay for now. Some of them. Technically, they can't explain the entire chunk, but it still does the same thing on the side. You gain so much empty space for your comments. You don't need to take extra lines. Especially when those extra lines can combine things together. Like this. Wait. They're all ones. Cannot mistreat that. This line of text is so long, it bleeds out. Like, what are you explaining for so long? That is crazy. Queued log limit? What do you mean, bro? What the fuck is this? I can queue logs or something? I don't even know this function then. This order shouldn't matter. Capture timestamps. Does it matter if I reorder this? It's actually false, so we don't get to know. If something happens to it, it shouldn't do anything. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't do anything, but let's do the exception thing as well. Where is it? Okay, something else? That's true. Start in pop-up mode. Funny enough, you can rename this stuff in the editor, and they rename it pop-up while hidden. No? Something else? Wait, what? Something? What? I thought this was the one. Enable pop-up is supposed to be... Oh, it's this. This one's hidden somehow. Start in pop-up mode. Because it's between minimized and pop-up. And I don't know what this is. Start minimized. This one is mysterious, bro. Then there is the editor. Serialized property. Find property. Yeah, even like dealing with the editor stuff is super nasty. Custom editor. So now I have to learn this new thing, you know. You even adding spaces. Like, learning this custom editor thing is such a nonsense. Holy shit. Ah, here we go. So if I enable this, it is actually going to choose whether this is true or the other thing. I see now. I technically should just delete the whole thing. But once you enable something, it makes other things appear as well. or switches. This is the only switch here. If else, right? Where even this can be simplified into this kind of idea. Actually, the other way around. Should work. Now we can test this. First actual test. Funny enough, you can see the lines here right now in the game. Yeah, I still don't know how it disables. Yep, it works. As I remember, you are allowed to do this as well. These are just properties. It's not even that interesting. It's the same thing over and over again. I can already see them not updating the text, just resetting it. Which is kind of awkward. You just press or use update function and it should double check the number of things you have. It is very relevant to tame the code because anytime you make any change, the entirety of the code has to be checked, I would imagine. Right, so if I can throw away a bunch of code that my computer not meant to read, it might speed things up a little bit. I have to throw away any plugin that's not useful for me. Like, it can save so much time because you always make little changes. This one seems to be at 23. This guy is very important as well. It's a list of something. Well, you go to hell now. Nobody needs you, very likely. Yeah, this is actually one of the longest Unity words I've ever seen. And you can sort of respect that, but it's still kind of weird. Is point inside a rectangle, boys? No? Point to from local to in a rectangle. Oh, local in the rectangle. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Here comes the position where Unity annoys me, actually. I have to grab a game object and grab set active. Probably you don't have to do that. However, I can't actually grab specifically from the T the game object, which is what I feared off would happen. So I don't know how to simplify the method. Sorry guys, I was tripping so hard that I pressed F8 or whatever. This thing in particular does rect transform a bunch of times. Rect transform image as well. And it's not occurring often enough, is it? Rect transform, okay. There's more. Another one. There's actually enough rect transforms to simplify this line. Lucky we if we get this. Because it's a preset value. So even if I change the name of this, which I kind of want to even though it's 3 occurrences, nothing happens. Or com8 start. Something like that. H ends. And now these bad boys can finally go back where they belong, even though append is still ridiculously stupid. But I always felt like this is equally stupid to have gaps plus plus. It's pretty much the same size as append. Right? Pretty much 7 characters versus 9. And technically this way feels a little bit cleaner, I guess. Sometimes. So I'm not too judgmental towards this thing being overused. Wait, actually, I might feel judgmental because the pen does not give up a space anyways. So you kind of get something like this, right? You get 6 characters. I don't know, it's actually pretty stupid then. Best way to do programming is, again, mimicking. I see something the way it works. This is very complicated, though. Mimicking is going to be difficult, and I will potentially do it. I just need to extract value. I need to turn this into a fight against actual Frieza. Against something like a supervillain. You're not going to make friends with him, but you can have a pretty good fight. So the first battle, major battle, ends with 1300. I would imagine this number is relatively the same because it's a ratio. Right now the ratio would be something like this, right? Well, actually the other way around. The ratio would be 30 almost. Very nice. You can see it updates here. It sort of updates here. Text dirty. Dirty. I mean, it updates whenever the text is dirty or something. And here updates to 0. I don't know, man. Some more things are gonna collapse soon. I gotta hand it to them. They just used 3 times. Whoever made this. I was like wondering what this is, but you just click, right? And it gets scroll racked from this thing, okay. From debugs. Now I need to rename it as well because it appears 8 times. There's a huge emphasis on info, warning, and error. Simple buttons that's supposed to just filter things. It's kind of weird. There's such a big emphasis on that. But it is what it is, right? Like, debug logs 3 types of things. And it could be difficult to extract that, I don't know. Normally you just have like 3 states, right? Which is, in this case, normal debug. Then, it does make you think, though, the typo. Is debug or demon, bro? So, warning and error. These types, you switch between these types and show everything or selected few, right? As you pushing out what you show to the person, and you just update that thing every single time something changes. So I don't know why it's so complicated here. Yeah, apparently enumeration is a little bit different than enumerator or something. Wait, I mean it is. But this one actually enumerates like time elapsing or some bullshit like that. It's so weird. Okay, should be able to save some lines with this game object set active. Now you know why there's this type of person, right? Because if you close this, you have to do this. You have to put 2 characters, guys, and that is evil. That is impossible, dude. I think, yep. There's 2 sides to this. Kind of fascinating. I'll just turn it into active. And all the broken lines, they're gonna go back to normal. Object set active. Another null question mark. You just add a question mark to the end. if it's null. Apparently, this is awesome. I wouldn't be able to do as much work without seeing the errors and everything. This is really helpful now. They literally updated Visual Studio, and I'm like, shit, okay, it works finally. So I just had to wait for the updates. That's cool. Because it didn't work previously, and I didn't even know how to make it work. And it was a torture, basically. But somehow they figured that out. Not only was it torture, it was something that I just accepted in my life, that my code will not be highlighted in any way. I'm guessing that the image is actually disabled somehow. Because I think that's the one that highlights. Because it doesn't even work. It doesn't change color. So I imagine it has to do something with this missing, but when I click on it, it does give a color. Oh! Here we go. It's with 0 alpha right now. Set. So I messed something up, some kind of color. Well, our battle coming to an end, and I was not able to do my features. You can see there's a lot of work just to compress the code to, well, 600 lines of code. For the final boss, clearly this is inappropriate, and I have to figure out how to not disable. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What just happened? Oh shit, I might not have changed the color properly. Ah, remember? This one, but it has to be full alpha. That's not a final boss. That was easy. I guess the last boss is final revision of whatever we're doing. Because I do demand to end this. Doesn't seem like I'll be able to squeeze any more content into this video. Doesn't seem like this video is bad. And so, just close it down. Oh my god, they know how to plus into a string. That's crazy. Somehow, this decided to be red, even though it's not an error of any kind. Okay, let's keep going. I have to review everything one more time from some kind of point. I'm realizing it has to remove a thread if it doesn't if it exists, so it doesn't add multiple threads or whatever. Threaded. I just picked the first word, but like it's a receiver of events, and you add events like that. But first you have to clear it of that event. So that's why there's minus and plus. I do recognize. Well, I don't want to stress myself out too much. So I'm gonna end soon. After I review everything. We're at 70% actually. This one collapses a lot easier. There's mostly a lot of just explanations, which somehow was not relevant for console to have. Liz dictionary, all kinds of crap that I wouldn't use. Dictionary in particular is a very disgusting one. Alright, we'll see, we'll see. I guess next video we're gonna read what this is all about. There's a lot of shit to read, apparently. That might explain how to use the code. And then I delete it and simplify it or something. The explanations. 970 is the current result. And for good measure, I probably should look one more time. Even this one's kind of cringe, but it's actually attached. To here, I don't want to take it, but it's just a count technically. Okay, that should actually work. I should be able to change these. I know this, all of this collapses again as well. Apparently I'm celebrating 70,000. That is interesting. I don't got no speeches, man. Obviously, if you're too tired and there's a lot of shit going down, you can do snap B. Doesn't matter what the name is. You're grabbing a game object, and then you do this. Now it doesn't even save me a line technically. Doing this doesn't do much. And then this is kind of lame. Honestly, funny enough, I didn't dig into the code yet at all. I'm just looking into the names and everything. Seems to be fine now. There's nothing that I can shrink or look at to be able to worry about this stuff. Seems normal. All the long names are gone, I think. I looked at this up and down. Yeah, I think we're fine. There's obviously a lot of fucking weird shit. This one is weird. 3 times. Para C. Alright. There's no good ending. Well, there is a good ending, actually. I just told about it. 70,000, boys. And here we go. I mean, that saves it, to be honest. Because I do feel kind of off when the process is so slow. $17.50 gives my conversion rate of 94%. This is where I end the episode. Once I know what it does, of course, we can go forward. But now at least, well, the only thing left to do again is read the strings and analyze the code. Read the comments. See you guys next time.